Note 1. We tend to use the terms absolutism and absolute monarchy interchangeably. That's because they're basically the same thing. But one thing we tend to oversimplify is that every example of absolutism is not necessarily a monarchy. Absolute power can also be found in a dictatorship. There is no king or queen in a dictatorship, and there is often the illusion of a fair and just government. Sometimes power is passed down a family line, but other times it just stays within the same ruling class party. Think about it this way. Your mom has absolute power in your home. That doesn't make her a queen. She could just be a dictator. Note 2. We've been throwing the word monarchy around a lot, but it's important to note that not all monarchies are absolute monarchies. An absolute monarchy is one in which all of the power is concentrated at the top, usually in a king or queen. That power will always stay with them and pass down to their heir, usually a son or daughter, when they die. They have complete control and essentially answer to no one. This was how things worked for our friend the old head chopper, King Henry VIII of England. In a constitutional monarchy, the power of the king or queen is extremely limited. They are essentially a figurehead. Ruling the country is left up to a government that often has its own leader. This is the case with Queen Elizabeth II in England today. She is the queen, but Prime Minister Theresa May has her own government and is the one leading the country. Unlike Henry, if Queen Elizabeth ordered someone's head chopped off, people would probably just laugh at her. Prime Minister May is doing a poor job right now, so it's likely the government and people will soon replace her. This may have already happened by the time you watch this video. However, Queen Elizabeth will remain the queen and continue to be no more powerful than any other old, rich white woman who lives in a castle and is constantly protected by soldiers with funny hats and assault rifles. Let's take a look at some of the pros and cons of absolutism. Pro. Absolutism can be very efficient. That's what happens when you can just make a decision without having to get everyone else to agree with you. If the leader has absolute power and identifies a problem, they can immediately take steps to have that problem fixed. In other forms of government, including democracy, fixing even the simplest problem can take hundreds of hours of meetings and years to actually fix. If you don't believe me, just look up. Con. This efficiency has a cost. While leaders with absolute power can do whatever they want, they know it is in their best interest to keep enough people happy that they avoid a rebellion. It's often easier for them to act quickly and keep the elite members of society happy, while leaving the poor and the weak behind. Pro. In an absolute monarchy, a strong leader equals a strong country. The fact that this leader has a strong army and enjoys universal support means that they project that tough exterior to the outside world. Why pick a fight with someone who can react quickly and without interference from people in their own government? If other countries respect and fear your leader, they respect and fear your country as well. Con. You have to remember that if your leader scares other countries, they can probably scare you too. It would be all too easy for that strength to turn inward against their own people, or in other words, you. Also, if a strong leader equals a strong country, then a weak leader equals a weak country. There are no guarantees that a strong king or queen will have a child who is as strong as they are. Pro. A set line of succession. This may not seem like a big deal, but there are some huge advantages in always knowing who is going to be in charge next. If the king dies, their son or daughter is next. And there are rules set out to avoid confusion in case that isn't possible. This continuity should allow a country to flourish uninterrupted in the event of the death of its leader. It should allow for long-term projects and planning. A king could enact a plan for the good of his people that he knows wouldn't be completed in his lifetime, and rest assured knowing that his heir would complete it. Con. Look, we literally have no idea who could be in charge of this country next. One president does something good, and the next jackass undoes it and starts something that the next guy will probably stop before it even finishes. None of that matters, because we have a say in who is in charge. Consistency can be great. But if the leader is consistently bad and you have no say in changing that, that's not so great.